Scared for Reals.
Hey, it's Chris O'Neill.
Adam Perry.
And welcome to another edition of Scared for Reals, where this time we're going to actually talk about a new release. We're in the months of January. Movie theaters, well, they put out stuff that they don't 100% believe in, or they're not sure what to do with it. We have Night Swim from one of your favorite production companies, Blumhouse, Atomic Monster, and Universal Studios.
I kind of like Universal Studios.
Well, all three of them had a hand in this movie. First weekend of January, following, you got all these award-worthy cinema movies being released. Mm-hmm. Some of them good, some of them not so good. But January, it's very rare to find a gem of a release. And I think what Blumhouse was going for was to try to repeat the success of Megan, which was a huge surprise last year.
Sure.
Did you like that one?
Not really my cup of tea, but I mean, I got why everybody liked it, I guess.
Well, Night Swim, I love the plot summary. It's a woman gets terrorized by spirits while swimming in her pool.
So we have haunted houses, we have haunted children, we have haunted trains, now we have a haunted swimming pool.
Yes, a haunted swimming pool. The movie has a lot of somewhat decent atmosphere, because if you look at the director of this movie, his name is Bryce McGuire. This is his first time directing a film. It was like a short movie of this. Mm-hmm. It was like a one set piece kind of thing. Turning some of those short movies into feature-length ones. Big success for Sling Blade. I don't know if this movie you would put on the same level as Sling Blade, but, You've got Carrie Condon. Now, I was talking to you about Carrie Condon. Brilliantly Oscar-nominated performance in The Banshees of Inisherin. And this was her follow-up. I like what one critic calls it, a thankless piece of Blumhouse schlock that tries and fails to make swimming pools scary. Like you said, haunted swimming pools. So when I was watching this, I got vibes from Ju-on The Grudge.
Yeah.
And also The Shining. All right. I got a Shining vibe to it, because you get this father, or the husband of Carrie Condon. Mm-hmm. He's got MS. He was a famous baseball player for the Milwaukee Brewers. They keep having to move him around when he gets traded, but he's got MS, and it's debilitating him bit by bit. So they moved to kind of scout out a couple different areas, and one place had an old pool in it. And immediately, Carrie Condon is kind of hesitant about the pool. There's like this throwaway line where her father pushed her into a pool to, she learned how to swim. But so the pool kind of, you would think it would possess her, but the pool somehow possesses her husband. He's healthier, or so it seems. Again, it's kind of some interesting thoughts are presented, but they're not really fleshed out, because like The Shining, yes, the hotel kind of takes over Jack Nicholson's persona, and so does this pool with this guy. And the way Kubrick presented it at the end was completely different than what they presented in the movie. Again, this is the first time guy directed a movie, but there was also the film debut of the guy who did Smile the previous year, which was actually solid for the most part.
Right.
This has a few interesting atmospheric ideas. He does get some good, there were some jump scares, but I think the audience that this is made for is teenagers, because it's got a PG-13 rating.
Yep.
So
that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah. So the guy has MS, and he's feeling better, and they don't really get into why the water is haunted in a way. There's this opening sequence of a young Asian girl drowning in the pool. She sees spirits. She's kind of pulled under. She drowns, and that's how the movie begins. And you're like, okay. You find out later, Carrie Condon seeks out this woman, and basically her son was dying of an illness, and the daughter saw something in the pool, so she went down and she drowned. She let her daughter drown so her son could get better, because the pool possessed her.
Yeah.
So when the pool possesses whomever it possesses and makes someone better, you've got to sacrifice somebody. Again, this idea is never fleshed out. I think it might have been more interesting if they actually fleshed out this idea.
Yeah.
But it's just basically presented, and okay, and the movie gets more ridiculous as it goes along. Like, the third act was obviously rushed. They're like, oh, we got to end this movie. Spoiler alerts. There's going to be a lot of spoiler alerts. You saw it at the beginning of the podcast. It's a spoiler alert because we're delving deep into this movie. And unfortunately, Adam, you did not see this movie.
No, I haven't had the time to get to this one yet.
I've got to ask, what did you do instead of watching this movie?
Not watch this movie. Home with the kids and, getting back to school and back to, just been a busy week after the holidays.
So basically, it was more eventful than watching this movie. I mean, again, there were some interesting ideas. I'm not saying it's a waste of time if you really like these type of movies and you really want to desperately see it. You may enjoy it, but to me, it was kind of a rocky start, and then it didn't finish that good. Because, again, it moved along. It had an interesting atmosphere for a little while, but again, it's just a pool possesses a guy's soul, and he has to sacrifice because he has a son and daughter. Mm-hmm. So he's got to pick which one he wants dead.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So you got a little bit of Sophie's Choice in there.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of The Shining. You got the curse thing that's prominent in Asian cinema, like Ringu and also Ju-on, The Grudge.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what made Ju-on, The Grudge so good, it wasn't a story, it was episodes.
Yeah.
That's what made The Grudge so good, the Japanese Grudge, not the American tripe that was remade. But the whole taking over the soul, possessing it, they didn't really get into any explanation in The Shining. But at the end of the movie, he gives you some images that kind of sum it up. Whereas this movie, it's like there's a brief explanation. This water was constantly worshipped and blessed, and that's why it makes it such a powerful thing. It's just really not clear.
Yeah.
I don't mind a little ambiguism in movies, but when it's like explained in a really chopped up manner. Oh, we got to give. Here's an explanation. That will sum up everything. It just really isn't convincing. It just seemed like it was rushed.
Yeah. You see, you say this is kind of interesting, given that this was produced by Blumhouse. I mean, so we joked a little bit at the beginning of being my favorite quote unquote movie studio.
Yeah.
But the thing about Blumhouse is, and what they had really done really well in the past was the execution of these ghost story type movies with the paranormal
activities. Their most successful ones today.
Insidious, a ghost story type.
Yeah.
So I mean, so this is kind of their MO, and to give Blumhouse credit where it's due, I do like the concept of the studio of trying to seek out and find these first time directors and story writers, and give them a little budget to to get their movie made,
right.
Which is. Do you think they've gone to the well? Do you think they've hit their peak with
Well, Megan was a huge success. It was one of their biggest success stories of last year.
Right.
This is I don't know how much this is going to make, but it's just questions. Why is the pool so bad? What does the pool want? What does the water in the pool?
Yeah.
Why does this water want to kill people? They're questions, and they lead to these unanswered questions lead to these funny scenes, but they're unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
Wyatt Russell's the guy who plays the character with MS, the ball player. He's energized to hit a home run when he thinks of the pool. A glass smashing itself because it's possessed by water from the pool. And you remember Titanic?
Yeah.
This is bad. Well, one of my favorite lines, there's something wrong with this pool. It's really? That's the best dialogue you could come up with? But again, you get The Shining, you get the elements of The Ring, Ju-On, The Grudge, but and obviously Sophie's Choice. Which child is he going to choose to sacrifice?
Right.
Well, spoiler alert: he sacrifices himself because the whole movie they force this whole plot. He's going to have to retire from baseball.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to give it up, but it's kind of forced.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the character, the script doesn't give any passion for baseball, really. It just shows a couple of scenes. He's helping coach his kids, baseball team, and it's like 4 scenes, okay, we're going to make this about a real sacrifice for love.
Yeah.
And so he's the dutiful father who sacrifices his life to save his family. That's the end. And they kind of bury the pool in obscurity, which kind of leaves it open if the movie does well for a franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I bury the pool.
Yeah. Again, it's the funny part is the pool, the water in the pool possessing people.
Yeah.
It's like you got these spirits. They're dragging Carrie Condon's character down. They're dragging her daughter down.
Yeah.
There's just all these spirits, and the spirit of the Asian girl saves Carrie Condon at the end because she's going to drown, and she miraculously shows her the way out.
Huh. All right, so I mean, again, I haven't seen it yet. How does one become possessed by the pool? Does the pool call to him, or do you have to dip in? And
he saw an old baseball when they were when the realtor was showing them around the house.
Yeah,
he sees an old ball sitting on top of the covered pool, and he falls in.
Okay,
and then it's like he's struggling, he's drowning. Then he imagines himself playing baseball, making a miraculous comeback.
Yeah,
and he's able to get out. And he's got this energy that's, again, not explained. And, sometimes you don't need things explained, spelled out for you, but at least give some sort of vision or impression of why this pool was possessed. My wife always says these filmmakers have lost the art of montages. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't you do a montage of long, long ago showing how this whole thing this water possessed people?
Right.
This all-powerful water, which has been around since ancient times, has possessed people. So, if the movie's successful, maybe we'll get a prequel of why the water is possessed.
All right. So, to answer my question, that if you don't touch the water, you're fine. If you touch,
I guess it chooses. Again, it's not clear of who it possesses and why.
Yeah,
there's really no clear answer. But since he was the first one that fell into the pool, he is the one that is possessed, and he gets to choose. He's got the health ailment, so he chooses to be better, but he's got to kill someone that he loves.
Right.
Which. It's kind of laughable when you're thinking about it. It would make for a good B movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
not a major. Well, yeah, but to have a major studio like Universal kind of cancels it out of being a B movie.
Well, again, what's a B? Is it budget or studio? I mean, it's because Blumhouse. Universal's backing it, but Blumhouse is like Universal's, B horror movie.
Well, it had a
division.
Yeah, it had a really you could tell money was put into it just by the way it was presented.
Okay,
a B movie. You think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mm-hmm. That was a B movie that did very well.
Yeah,
you don't get that kind of vibe when watching Night Swim. You don't get that vibe that it's a B movie.
Yeah, but to compare it...
I'm not comparing.
No. What I'm getting at is to compare a B-budget movie from the 70s into a B-budget movie now, technology has changed so much.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can record a...
But look at It Follows.
Okay.
That has a B-movie vibe to it. It didn't have a lot of money put in. Mm-hmm. It was released by a major studio,
right?
But it had that B movie vibe to it. You can have a vibe. even if you put a lot of money into it,
right,
you could still have a B movie vibe to it. But when you try to do something bigger than what you're really trying to do, like the Matrix movies that followed, tried hard to be something they were not. Mm-hmm. It's okay to try to make a B movie. You don't have to try to make a prestigious horror film. You don't have to do that. And when you try so hard to make something be bigger than what it actually is, that's when I see a lot of failures. The first Matrix movie didn't try to do anything but try to be an action sci-fi film.
Right.
But the other ones tried really hard with all this theology and philosophy, and it just got bogged down by being taken itself too seriously. Mm-hmm. You could the people could have had a lot more fun making this movie. It just didn't seem like it. It was kind of meh.
Right.
So Night Swim, I kind of give it 2 stars again. First time filmmaker trying to find his voice. Mixed results. Again, I think if teenagers watch it, they'll probably enjoy it, but we'll have to see if this equals financial success like Megan did.
Yeah, you know what? As we talk about, B movies again, traditionally a B movie is, comes down to budget and how much budget money you put into. But so I'm curious to know what constitutes a B budget in 2024, because this movie is made for $15 million.
Yeah.
All right. So compared to what Texas Chainsaw Massacre or even Halloween, were made for $300,000, considered a B budget movie.
Well, let's just talk about Godzilla -1 for a minute, because Godzilla -1, $15 million budget, but it wasn't trying to be anything other than a serious Godzilla movie.
Okay.
Again, it wasn't. I mean, a atomic monster wreaking havoc on the world. They don't really explain why, but they just know they have to work together. They can't rely on the government. They got to do it themselves. There's that message to it. It's very powerful. Mm-hmm. They weren't trying hard to do it. You could tell they presented it with confidence, right? And they knew what they were doing. I mean, Bryce McGuire. That's the guy who directed this movie. I mean, it was a one scene short story he did, I think, a decade ago. It was several years ago he did it, and they decided, okay, we're going to make it into a feature-length movie. Sling Blade, they did the same thing with a minimal budget and with amazing results.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not about the budget. It's what you do with it. And Godzilla -1 had the same $15 million budget. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel shoddy in any way. It was well done. You would have thought they spent $50-60 million on it, because it's not about the budget. It's what you do with it.
Okay. So then, is it really necessary calling it a B?
Well,
B movie?
The plot has a stereotypical B movie plot. Okay, a pool terrorizing people. This is something that a cheesy movie you'd see in the 60s and 70s. Seriously. Okay. I could see Hammer doing a haunted pool, but when Hammer's doing it, someone like Terrence Fisher directing it, it's going to be quality, and it's going to be about 20-30 minutes shorter. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's got a B movie plot, but they try to put they try to make it more important than what it is. They try to make it prestigious. Does that make sense?
So it's more not necessarily a budget thing. They executed it poorly.
Yeah, well, obviously they did, because the ending was rushed, and the plots, none of them were really thought out clearly, and you didn't really connect with any of the characters. Really, you didn't really have time to connect with them.
Right.
I know that was Leonard Maltin's biggest complaint about The Shining. You don't have time to connect with Jack Nicholson. He goes off the rails so quickly. But as the movie moves along, you're kind of like, okay, obviously he's possessed by the hotel. And the ending sums it up in just visuals.
Right.
No dialogue. So, I mean, could the movie have done a similar thing and made it successful? I don't know. We'll never know because they didn't present it that way. But the way it was presented, they tried it to make it a serious movie when it's okay to have a serious, like a cheesy B-movie vibe to it. There's nothing wrung with that. I don't think there's a problem with it.
No, there's no problem with it. I guess, maybe this is a discussion for another show. Again, what do we consider a B movie? Because again, when I think of B movie, to me, it's all about budget. So
budget is part of it, but like the storylines in a lot of these B movies are kind of cheesy. Some of the plots are cheesy, but watching them, you kind of go with it. This movie, I didn't go with it because it was presented, I thought, sloppily, But
but I mean, like E.T. could be considered cheesy. Clearly, that wasn't, given a limited budget. They let Spielberg do whatever he wanted, and it showed. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, when I think of B movie, I think of, all right, we'll make your movie, but, here's your budget, and you're not to go above it. Whereas another movie, someone else could come in and be like...
I'm talking about, maybe I should call it a schlock movie or a low-quality horror film. I don't know how to say it, but B-movie is described as, something of this nature with a lower budget, and the movie did not have a huge budget. Mm-hmm. I mean, it didn't. It didn't have a huge budget. $15 million is like $300,000 back in the 70s.
Right.
So it had a low budget. It had B-movie plot material, the stereotypical B-movie plot. You have to admit, Adam, a haunted pool is got low-budget, cheesy movie goodness written all over it. Mm-hmm. You have to admit. But the way it's presented, they try to make it more important. They try to really make it serious. Okay. It takes itself too seriously, Adam.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just...
Yeah, I'm just trying to explain. Yes, I felt it had B-movie quality. It could have been treated as a B-movie, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But the way they presented it was just very bad and sloppy.
And again, the whole point of Blumhouse Productions is to make B movies.
Yes.
And occasionally you get the massive hit like a Paranormal Activity that just takes everybody by surprise.
Yeah.
So, and
again, that was low budget too.
Yeah, it was a B movie. Yeah. And again, that's Blumhouse's MO. It's to, he's like kind of like a, you're probably going to hate me for making this comparison. He's like a modern day Roger Corman.
He's trying to be. Yes.
Trying to be. Where making these...
He's got more money behind him than Roger Corman did. So.
Yeah, well, but it's also a different generation, too. So, I mean, it's...
yeah. But there wasn't a lot of... Roger Corman introduced Martin Scorsese. He introduced Brian De Palma. He introduced Jack Nicholson. He introduced Peter Bogdanovich. And so far, what can Jason Blumhouse brag about? He's been around for how long now?
Maybe 2 decades, if that.
Yeah. I mean...
15 years, maybe.
I mean, Corman, his movies made much more of an impact than Blum's movies have so far. The impact of his movies has not even been close to Roger Corman's impact. Not even close.
I mean, I could have, agreed to that.
But anyways, this movie was made on a lower budget.
Yep.
It could have been presented in a cheesy fashion, and it would have been fine. Look at Bubba Hotep. It Follows was serious, but it didn't feel the same way as It Follows. He could have easily made this generation's It Follows. He really could have.
So it sounds like your opinion on it is, they had a decent concept for just a good, fun horror movie. And
fun is the key word.
And they just overreached and executed.
Right. I wasn't a huge fan of the Friday the 13th, but I'd be more inclined to watch the earlier Friday the 13th, which was made like that generation about a similar type budget. You had more fun watching Friday the 13th.
Right.
It wasn't trying hard. It wasn't trying to be something it wasn't. And
gotcha.
And it seemed like Night Swim wanted to be something it wasn't. They tried too hard, and of course they just didn't execute it that well. It was kind of sloppy. So again, 2 stars, that's what I would give, because I think if Bryce is given good material. He can kind of hone his craft because he does have some potential there to create some good atmospheric stuff. But Night Swim was definitely a misfire. I haven't seen the short film it was based on. Maybe sometime I'll try to seek it out, but this movie didn't make me want to watch the short version. But Night Swim, it's playing in theaters. Again, this is Scared for Reals. Did you see Night Swim? Did you vehemently disagree with what I just said? Comment, reach out to us on YouTube. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just shoot us a message, give us some feedback, and if there's a movie you'd like us to delve into, again, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, let us know.
We'll see you next time on Scared for Reals.